Stroud Times is at Wotton Auction Rooms today, and I'm here with Toby Lennox-Hilton. Toby, what do you do here at Wotton Auction Rooms?
So I come in and catalogue and value the art and Asian art that comes into the auction room each month. We get about 200 lots of paintings and prints, and then the range of Asian art really depends on what comes in each month, so I'm here to work on those departments.
What a fascinating job. I bet you love it.
Yeah, it's fun. You never know what you're going to see.
Yeah,
I always say that, but you really, until it comes in, it's always a surprise. That's the best part about it.
So you have a forthcoming sale, so it's December the 10th and 11th, and you have some really special paintings coming up. So you'd like to talk about just a few of them. So tell us about the first one.
Yeah, so we've highlighted a few works from the sale. The first one I was going to talk to you about is part of a collection of about 40 artworks that have come in that go from late 16th century to contemporary artists' works. One work in particular is a painting, 17th century Flemish school painting, which is of an earlier 17th century engraving of an earlier painting as well. So there's quite an interesting lineage to that work. The original painting is by an artist called Cornelis de Vos, and on that painting you can see, compared to the one that we have, the composition is a mirror opposite.
Wow.
So the reason why our painting is opposite is because we believe our painting is of the later engraving by another artist, Alexander Vouet. So the reason why they've had the mirror opposite is because the engraver has engraved what they see from the original and then pressed it onto paper, and you get the reverse.
Amazing.
And then this painting's by someone who's worked from that work.
So is it fairly rare then?
We believe so, yeah. It's got a label that shows that it's been at auction in France at some point, but apart from that, we're not sure. So it's made its way here now.
Is there a price tag on it yet?
£3,000 to £4,000 is the estimate we put on the work, so let's see where it goes from there.
What's the next painting you'd like to talk about?
So the next work is from the same collection. It's a 17th century Dutch work that's attributed to an artist called Richard Brackenberg. Now this work in particular is interesting because you can see how Brackenberg's been influenced by Rembrandt. Brackenberg's about 50 years younger than Rembrandt, and painters of his generation were all highly revered Rembrandt and his work. And you can see in this work in particular, there's these two figures with plumed hats that are very representational of Rembrandt's plumed hat portraits. So you can see there, there's that kind of tip of the hat, so to speak, back to Rembrandt, which is why I love that painting so much. I
imagine that's going to be really popular. So what sort of price are you looking to fetch on that?
So for that work there, we've got £1,500 to £2,500, and again, it's we'll see where it goes from there. Of these old masterworks, you can never really put a price tag, and it's down to the day.
Tell us about the next painting then.
Okay, so this is a more modern collection of, again, about 40 pictures. And for this collection, we've got a range of artworks, but the ones we're going to mention to you are the two sort of stars of the show. These are the two of the highest value works in that collection. One is by Brian Ballard, who's an Irish colourist. Brian Ballard's work he's known for these nude life studies as well as these still life scenes, and we've got one of his still lifes here today. It's two vases of roses. And it's an interesting painting. I mean, the reason why this painting is so fascinating is because even though you can see that Ballard is very technically proficient in how he paints, he's quite simplistic and almost naive in how he applies the paint. And if you look at certain sections of the work, it's just these small abstract compositions. It's not until you look back that you get the full realist scene there of the still life. So it's very clever in how he painted that work. And then as well as that, the other painter that I'd like to mention is Kurt Jackson. We've got two works by Kurt Jackson. There's a smaller seascape, and then there's this larger, it's another coastal scene, but it's a scene of a solitary boat with a fisherman standing on it in a cove, and there's a small inscription to the lower left describing the scene. And it's thoughtful, it's introverted, it's still, it's a wonderful piece, and I've enjoyed having to look at it every morning that I come in. I'm looking forward to finding its new home and see where it ends up.
So those two final pieces that you mentioned, they're modern pieces. What are the price tags on those? So
the Ballard has got £1,000 to £2,000 priced on it, and the Kurt Jackson, the larger one of the two, is £1,500 to £2,500. So all four of these works are really in the same kind of price bracket, but they span across over 300 years of history. So it's really interesting to see how different works from different areas in time have ended up to have a similar value.
Really fascinating talking to you about your current collection, and these are all coming up in your forthcoming sale, the 10th and 11th of December. Hope it goes really well.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. We look forward to it happening on the 11th for the pictures. So.